Good morning. Today we are going to study about types of carburetor. There are three general types of carburetor depending upon the direction of airflow. The first one is up drop, second is down, and third one is cross drop. Let's see them in detail. The first is up drop as shown in the figure, in which the air enters at bottom and leaves at the top, so that the direction of its flow is in upward direction. The disadvantage of this type of carburetor is that it must lift the speared fuel droplet by air friction. Hence, it must be designed relatively small mixing tube and throat, so that even at low engine speed, the air velocity is sufficient to lift and carry the fuel particles along. Otherwise, the fuel droplets will tend to separate out, providing only a lean mixture to the engine. On the other hand, the mixing tube is also finite and small, so it is unable to supply the mixture to engine at sufficiently high speed. So this type of carburetor will basically work only at low engine speed. In order to overcome the drawbacks of this type of carburetor, the down drop was adopted. It is placed at a level higher than inlet manifold, and the air and fuel generally follow a downward course. Here, the fuel does not have to be lifted by the friction as in updraft, but move into the cylinder by gravity even if the velocity of air is low. Hence, the mixing tube and the throat can be made large, which make high engine speed and high specific output possible. Then we have one more type known as a cross drop. In this, it consists of a horizontal mixing tube with a float chamber on one of its sides. By using this in engines, the one right angle turn in inlet passage is eliminated and the resistance to flow is reduced. That is basically a one type of minor loss which we have already seen in case of fluid mechanics. Then we have some more types, like one is a constant choke carburetor. In the constant choke carburetor, the air and fuel flow cross section are always maintained to be constant, but the pressure difference or the depression, carburation depression, which causes the flow of fuel and air is maintained as per the demand. So in this case, we are basically varying the pressure difference or the carburation depression in order to supply the required quantity of air fuel mixture. The Solex and Zenith carburetor belong to this class. Then we have a constant vacuum carburetor. The constant vacuum carburetor is sometimes called as a variable choke carburetor. In this, air and fuel flow areas are varied as per demand, while the vacuum is maintained to be always same. The SU and Carter carburetor belong to this category. Then we have a multiple venturi carburetor. In this multiple venturi carburetor, it uses a double or a triple venturi. This additional venturi is known as boost venturi. The boost venturi is located concentrically within the main venturi. The discharge edge of the boost venturi is located at the throat of main venturi. Only a fraction of total air flows through the boost venturi. Now, the pressure at the boost venturi exit equals the pressure at the main venturi throat. The fuel nozzle is located at the throat of boost venturi. This type of arrangement helps in creation of high depression, and at the boost venturi throat, the velocity of air is as high as 200 meter per second. An annular blanket of air is formed. This blanket keeps the fuel droplets off the all of induction track. Excellent low speed full throttle can be obtained, and more efficient mixing of air and fuel is obtained without incurring an acceptable reduction in volumetric efficiency. The Carter carburetor uses a multiple venturi. Then we have a multi-jet carburetor also. A single barrel carburetor is the carburetor which is having only one barrel, whereas a dual carburetor has two. Each of these two will contain a fuel jet, a choke, a throttle, and an idling system. But the float chamber for both of these will be common. The passenger cars with 6 or more number of cylinders are provided with dual carburetors. Each venturi supplies air-fuel mixture to the half of cylinders. Certain advantages of these type is the dual carburetor supplies a charge of mixture to the cylinder which is uniform in quality. Volumetric efficiency is high in case of dual carburetor. The charge is distributed to each cylinder in a better manner, and the design of this dual carburetor is simple and compact. So these were some of the basic types of carburetor. In the next session, we will be discussing about Solex carburetor and Carter and SU carburetor. Thank you.